Hello everyone. Today I wanted to show you all how to make these crochet sunflower granny squares. Now these are kind of a base to how I form a couple of my patterns. I have them actually listed in my store for sale. I'll go ahead and link those right into the video description. I also have another couple of videos that go for piecing these all together. So this is a little more in-depth about how to fully create the round granny squares. Well, they start off round and then move into the square. So to begin this, what we're going to need is I am using for this one a 4mm crochet hook. We're going to need a pair of scissors in order to cut our yarn. We'll need a darning needle for weaving in our ends, and then we're going to need some yarn. I am simply using a number 4 weight acrylic yarn. For this one, for the brown, I am using, it's a red heart. The color is Cafe for the brown. And then I'm using, it's actually just a Mainstays yellow. And then this one's just Mainstays also. It's a green, just from the little bin at the store. So they don't really go into much detail of exact shade onto those, so just a yellow and then a green. But they're all number 4 weight, worsted weight yarn. Now to begin this, what we want to do is start with a magic ring. So to create that, you want to hold your end of the yarn between your thumb and forefinger and then wrap around. So your working end is up top, and then just kind of cross it down below the other half of the loop. Take your crochet hook, go through the center and pull up a loop. And then from here, just go ahead and chain 3. All right, now we have our magic ring. Now what we want to do is put 15 more double crochets into this ring. For this pattern, your first chain 3 of a round is going to count as a double crochet stitch. So to create a double crochet, you yarn over, go into the ring, pull up a loop. All right, now yarn over and pull through your first 2 loops. Yarn over and go through your last 2 loops. And there's a double crochet. Now go ahead and repeat that until you have 16 total. So your chain 3 is 1, so I have 2. All right, now that we have our 16, go ahead and take the tail of our magic ring and give it a pull to close it. Now don't close it too tight, otherwise I find if you pull it too tight, it tends to warp your entire project. So just pull it enough to close it. And then what we want to do is slip stitch into our 3rd chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join. And then we have round 1. So I'm going to continue working in this same color for the center of the sunflower. So from here you could change colors, but we're going to work right from here. So from that same stitch, I'm going to chain 3. All right, so now we have our chain 3. What we're going to work is half double crochet 2 together. So essentially it's kind of like a little puff stitch. So what we're going to do is yarn over, go into the same stitch where we just came out of, and pull up a loop. And we want to make sure our loops are about as tall as your chain 3. And then yarn over. Now I do like to keep my ring finger on the hook back here. It just keeps the loops from pulling tight, otherwise I just get like a knotted mess. And then I'm going to go into the same stitch again, pull up another loop up to the same height. So now I have 5 loops on my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over and go through all 5 loops and then chain 1. And then into our next stitch here, we're going to do a half double crochet 3 together. So it's kind of like a puff, but same thing, yarn over, go into the stitch and pull up a loop and bring them up about the same height as your previous stitch. Yarn over, go into the stitch again, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, go into the stitch and pull up a loop for a 3rd time. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on our hook. Then we yarn over, go through all 7 loops, and then chain 1. Now we just want to repeat that into each stitch around. So you should end up, we made 2, so you should end up with 16 of these little puffs throughout this round. All right, now that we've got all of those completed, what we want to do is slip stitch into our third chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join, and then go ahead and tie off. Now as you can see, it kind of just made little puffs, gave it a little bit of a texture, so kind of like the little seeds inside of a sunflower. See, if you ever look at them really close, the outer seeds seem to develop more, quicker than the inner seeds, so it gives it more of that texture to kind of look like a sunflower as it's growing. Now for round 3, what we're going to do is attach our yellow yarn. We're going to attach that right into one of these chain 1 spaces. Or just attach with, I'm going to use just a little slip stitch and pull it tight. Then we'll go ahead and chain 3. Then from here what we're going to do is half or a double crochet 3 together into the same chain 1 space. So to do that, we yarn over, go into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through your first 2 loops. All right, and then we want to repeat that. Yarn over into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through your first 2 loops, yarn over into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through your first 2 loops. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, so yarn over and go through all 4 loops, and then chain 2. So we have our first little section here done, and I'm also kind of working in the tail ends of the yarn so that it's just one less piece that I have to use my darning needle to weave in. If you're just learning, you might want to just leave them and loose however they fall and then weave them in, because it might be a little bit more difficult for someone just starting. Now into our next chain 1 space, what we're going to do, and this one will be repeated throughout all the chain spaces until the end, it's double crochet 4 together. So just like the 3, yarn over, go into the chain space and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through your first 2 loops. Yarn over into the chain space, pull up a loop, yarn over and your first 2 loops, and repeat that 2 more times. And so you have the start of 4 double crochets into there, or 5 loops on your hook. So what you want to do is yarn over and go through all 5 loops and then chain 2. And then you just want to repeat that, the double crochet 4 together into each chain 1 space, followed by a chain 2 all the way around, and you should have 16 of these once you are done. Now that we have them all completed, what we want to do is slip stitch into our third chain of our first chain 3 of the round in order to join, and then go ahead and tie off. And there we have it a little circle for the sunflowers. Now I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. I will link the second video of this series into the description below. I just don't want to, push too much for a super long video. I would like it so that you don't have to use the pause, speed up, and keep full attention during the process. So I'll go ahead and link that, and in that video I'll also be showing you in detail how to take it from the circle into a square, and also how you can continue it on for an even larger square. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here in just a moment once I get the second video uploaded.